There's a silent burden carried by millions of people every single day. It's an invisible weight, one that's quietly crushing the individuals who hold families together. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're stepping into the profound, often hidden reality of the emotional caretaker. It's a cycle that breaks people before they even realize they're broken. So let's logically deconstruct exactly why you might be feeling so exhausted and so entirely hollow right now.
Think of emotional energy as a bank account. This is the foundational metaphor we really have to grasp here. Your emotional energy, it's finite. You only have so much to spend in a single lifetime. And when you spend it on someone else, you're making a withdrawal from your own reserves. For a lot of you watching this, you've been operating in crippling emotional debt for as long as you can remember. Let's take a look at the brutal mathematics of how that debt was actually created.
In the structure of a healthy family, the flow of care is strictly top-down. Parents pour their emotional energy into their children. But in your house, the pipe was reversed. You, the child, were pouring your limited emotional currency upward, straight into the very people who are supposed to be supporting you. You essentially became the foundational pillar for adults who were crumbling. To understand why a child would willingly do something like this, we really have to look at the biology. A child's brain is biologically hardwired for what psychologists call attachment security. You absolutely need your parents to be stable just to feel safe in the world. If they're falling apart, whether they're emotionally volatile, depressed, or chaotic, your brain perceives that instability as a literal life or death threat. So what do? You fix them. You manage their moods. You do this just to save yourself. Ultimately, you traded your own childhood for a false sense of safety. And that brings us to a truly agonizing statistic. 100%, 0%. Because you perceived your environment as a constant emergency, you spent 100% of your crucial developmental years learning how to manage their lives. You anticipated their triggers, you solved grown-up problems. And that left exactly 0% of your energy to learn how to manage your own life. You became an absolute expert in them and a complete stranger to yourself. Psychologists actually have a clinical name for this specific trauma. It's called parentification. See, you weren't just being a good kid. You were fundamentally parentified. You were forced to assume the emotional and sometimes even the physical responsibilities of an adult while you were still just a child. It's a profound role reversal, one that fundamentally alters how you interact with the entire world. Enmeshment. It is a terrifying loss of boundaries. In a parentified dynamic, the boundary between you and your parent simply vanishes. Their bad day literally becomes your bad day. Their financial anxiety turns into your physical heart palpitations. You reach a point where you genuinely no longer know where they end and where you begin. You're anchored to a ship that is constantly sinking. Most of us are familiar with the instinct to fight or flee when we're faced with danger. But parentified children develop a highly tuned Fawn Response. Fawning is this deep-seated conditioning to please, appease, and pacify. You fold yourself into whatever shape the other person needs. You become an emotional chameleon, constantly adjusting the temperature of the room, just so no one else gets uncomfortable. Let me ask you something. Did you actually rest this weekend? When you finally had a moment to sit down, did you feel peace? Or did you feel this strange, hollow guilt creeping in because you weren't actively being useful to someone else? Did the silence make your skin crawl? This inability to just rest without feeling guilty, that is a hallmark of the emotional caretaker.
Let me be incredibly clear about what that guilt actually is. It's a neurological scar. It is not a personality trait. Your brain has been relentlessly conditioned over decades to believe that you only possess value when you're solving a crisis for someone else. Without a problem to fix, your brain sends out panic signals telling you that you're going to be abandoned.
You are living a ghost life. If you spend your entire existence acting as an emotional caretaker, you aren't actually living your own life. You're a specter haunting the background of someone else's story. Sure, you go through the motions, you pay your bills, you smile and nod, but the vibrant, autonomous life you are meant to live, it's entirely absent. Let's look methodically at how a ghost life is built. It's built on stolen hours. Every single hour you spent mediating your parents' divorce, every evening drained by listening to their venting sessions, every weekend consumed by fixing their financial messes, those were not just favors. They were hours explicitly stolen from your own potential to build relationships or, frankly, to simply rest.
Because of those stolen hours, a part of you remains frozen in time. You might be 40 or 50 years old today, but psychologically, your authentic self is still that 6-year-old child. And that child is standing there, holding an incredibly heavy suitcase full of adult problems, quietly waiting for permission to put it down. That child is waiting for you to save them. But you're too busy saving everyone else.
You probably tell yourself you do it because you're loyal. We need to deconstruct that lie right now. Sacrificing yourself is merely the illusion of loyalty. The reality is enabling. By acting as a permanent crutch for your parents, you're actively ensuring that they never learn how to walk on their own. And in the process of constantly holding them up, you are forgetting how to run.
You cannot save a person who is using your drowning body as a raft. Let the gravity of that profound metaphor sink in for a moment. If someone is pulling you under the water just so they can take a breath, neither of you is going to survive. You simply cannot regulate the nervous system of an adult who refuses to regulate their own. If you don't break this cycle, there's a grim reality waiting for you. One day, there will be a last time you speak to your parents. And if your entire relationship remained nothing but a caretaking transaction, you'll look back with the devastating realization that you never actually knew each other. You only knew the roles you played, the chaotic victim and the exhausted savior.
Breaking this cycle requires a radical shift in perspective. Setting a boundary with a parentified dynamic is often painted as cruel or selfish. It's not. It is an act of resurrection. Drawing a line and saying no is not an act of hate against your parents. It's the necessary resurrection of your own autonomy. It is pulling that drowning version of yourself out of the water.
Which brings us to the ultimate philosophical question of this explainer. How much more of your life are you willing to give away before you finally decide to live it? You were never meant to be a structural foundation for adults. You were meant to be your own entirely separate person. How many more years will you sacrifice to the altar of their dysfunction? I want to speak directly to that 6-year-old version of you right now. The shift is over. You've done enough. You have carried burdens that were never yours to carry in the first place. You can put the heavy suitcase down now. It's time to step away from the shadows of their crises, walk toward that bright, open horizon, and finally begin the quiet, beautiful work of living for yourself.